Firstly, thank you very much, Chris, for coming to my show.
Absolutely.
So I've gone through your profile. I can see you have done a lot of work and still doing a lot of work and doing a lot of service to the world. So I thought to tell about your work to my audience.
Perfect. Happy to always talk about myself.
So before that, can you please introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Chris Bruce. I'm a five-time venture-backed founder. Currently, I'm the CEO and co-founder of a Web3 infrastructure company called Blockjoy. Previously, I sold a company to Electronic Arts and I sold a company to Mattel. So I've been around for quite some time. I am a hands-on technical type, but I do a lot in product and marketing as well.
So when you started this blog,
When did I start Blockjoy?
yeah.
Yeah, so I started this company about 2 years ago, and it was actually completely by accident. I was just building something for myself and some close friends and family, and we did such a good job at building this and lowering the cost of running a blockchain node that it turned out a lot of people wanted to use it, and we ended up becoming pretty successful. We went on to raise some funding, and we recently closed a Series A with Google Ventures or Gradient Ventures, the Google venture arm. They basically led our Series A. And so, yeah, it's been great. It's been busy. Like I said, it's kind of happened by accident. So I'm pretty excited.
So from which part of the world are your services being used?
Yeah, so pretty much all over, to be honest. So we have customers that use it in the United States, use it in Asia, use it in Europe, so all over the world. And in fact, I am originally from Southern California in the United States, but now today I live in Berlin. I've been here for 3 years. So even myself and my team is completely distributed around the world.
And what problems exactly you want to solve?
So for this particular use case, so if you know anything about Web3, Web3 is more of an idea about decentralizing the internet. So we have companies like Google, we have companies like Facebook, we have companies like Twitter. They are owning your social media content, your data. They are kind of infringing a little bit on your privacy so that they can sell ads and make revenue. But it's your content that you're putting out there. It's your, you know, effort and hard work that does things. Other platforms like YouTube monetize and you get some money back, but it's very hard to be monetized. And so the big cut goes to them big companies. And what I'd like to see is, blockchains and crypto be used as a tool to usher in the next evolution of the internet where those companies don't no longer have control over your privacy, your personal data. And instead, we have all of these web services that are completely decentralized and they have no intermediary. They have no person operating in the middle. And the nice thing about this is if you have resources to provide, you can provide them. You can earn, crypto for providing those resources. And if you're a consumer, you can use those resources and you can pay in crypto. And so I think it's a really good, perfect solution. And I guarantee you at some point, there'll be a decentralized ad network. So if you still want to use this existing ad model so that you can use the social media networks for free and still not have an intermediary, that's all possible as well.
And how many users you have now?
Oh, that's a good question. So we launched a beta. So we've actually have customers like crypto.com, Binance, the Helium Foundation. We have quite a few customers that have been using us over the last 2 years. So big, enterprise level customers. But what we did is we took this platform and we opened it up so that anybody can use it. It's in beta right now. Last I checked, we have 400 or 500 people using it. But we have a lot of, companies that we're talking to about coming on board. And so these are big companies that have, thousands and thousands of blockchain nodes that they run.
And how you're putting your word out, because not many non-technical people knows that their data has been using like this and not getting paid and not they are not getting benefit, but the companies are getting.
Yeah, so there's a few things that we do. So we focus on more of the enterprises. So the big companies that are running blockchain nodes, they typically run in the cloud. So they run in these centralized things like Amazon Web Services or Google Cloud or Microsoft's Azure. But to run those in the cloud, you're kind of running them again on a centralized entity. And so you're sort of centralizing that service. And because of that, it's also very expensive. To run things in the cloud today have really grown over the last 15 years that I've been using the cloud, and it's becoming very cost prohibitive. And so what we do is we enable those customers to lower their operational costs by up to 80%. And then we allow them to run those nodes anywhere on bare metal servers, anywhere in the world on any other bare metal provider. And so it's a way for them to decentralize the network, to add diversity. They can run it in their garage. They can run it, in a data center that they own. They can run it in bare metal servers that they rent somewhere else, but it basically gets them off the cloud. And so I think that's a really strong, compelling way. And because of that, word is starting to get out because of the cost factor. I also run a podcast that's relatively new called WTF Web3. And so part of our goal with that podcast is to talk a lot about the issues of the internet today and what Web3 could bring. And, there is a bit of a misnomer when we talk about Web3. Most people think of crypto, they think of scams, they think of $1 million ape pictures, NFTs and things like that. But there's a whole other side to Web3, which is really about the decentralized internet. And so we're doing our best to get it with our podcast and coming on podcasts and shows like this as well.
And who will get most benefit with this?
I think anybody that wants to run a blockchain node. So part of decentralizing the internet is having people run servers that help, run the apps and the data and the decentralized things for that particular service. And so what we want to do is we want to make it very easy for anybody to run a node and participate in Web3. And, by participating in Web3, usually you're earning some kind of token. So hopefully they have the tools that make it very easy. They're very cost-effective tools compared to what you have today in the cloud. And so it just makes it more accessible for anybody to use.
But how you're presenting and how you're reaching people with the service that you have?
Yeah. So today, right now, we are focusing on larger node operators. So we go direct to them. We have people that have worked with a lot of different providers in the community. And so we're trying to go after some of these bigger players that run a lot of servers on the cloud. We're trying to get them to take those off the cloud and then run them more decentralized and distributed elsewhere. And so a lot of it is just contacts and stuff that we have today. Of course, we do some marketing. We do some PR. So we get some press coverage here and there, but it's traditional. The thing about today about marketing, traditional marketing, when we talk about marketing, there's really kind of three levels of marketing, right? So there's paid media, there's owned media, which is content you create like yourself. And then there's earned media where somebody comes to you, like you came to me and said, hey, I want to have you on my show. And so those are the three avenues. What we're seeing today, traditionally, is paid media. You want a commercial on TV, you pay for it. You want ads in Facebook or in LinkedIn, you pay for it. But what we're seeing today is those don't work. Social media is really, like TikTok and YouTube, is really completely dumped that on the head. And now owned media, which is the content you create and produce, and earned media are more of the best ways for marketing and the best return on investment. And so we're really working on that effort. But as you know, having a podcast of your own, it takes a while to get a podcast off the ground. So, you're going to spend a year or so making content that, gets very little viewership. And then one day, like a hockey stick, people start to discover it and they look at all your great content and you start to go up. So those are investments that take some time. And so like the WTF podcast, we're really focused on talking a lot about the messages and things that Blockjoy wants to help support. But it takes time. Since we just started the podcast, a couple months ago, it's going to take time to build up. But that's how, social media mostly.
And how you're presenting your work on your podcast?
So our podcast tries to stay somewhat neutral over Blockjoy. We don't try and promote Blockjoy too much. Usually we have a link whenever we publish the podcast to Spotify or to YouTube. We have a link back to Blockjoy. But what we like to do is talk about important topics in Web3. We really want to separate the sort of crypto utility, the things that are good for the internet, versus the scam stuff that are kind of BS and not necessarily good. And so we talk a lot about that. And so the idea is that we're providing content that's valuable. It's not Blockjoy related. And, hopefully people will see that and see how knowledgeable we are and, how much we love and appreciate the goals of Web3, the truest intent of Web3. And hopefully they'll come and check us out. And, eventually we'll build an audience that will know about Blockjoy. And if they need to run nodes, they know where to find us.
And how much people are aware of this decentralization concept?
That's a good question. I don't have a hard number. It's growing every day. So if you look at like Web3, hashtag on Twitter or YouTube, it's definitely growing and people are getting more familiar with it. The biggest problem that Web3 faces is that it's closely related to crypto. Crypto is kind of part of the process of decentralizing these things. So blockchain technology is used heavily to have these decentralized applications. But as you may have noticed, the crypto is going up and down. There's a lot of scams. There's a lot of up and downs in crypto. And so at some point, when these people cheat the system and try and, basically steal a bunch of money from customers, it doesn't make crypto look good. But fundamentally, once you understand it, it's good. But again, I think we still have a long way to go for people to understand it. I will say that the last metric I have is I believe there's about 80 million crypto wallets created, and that represents about 3% of the entire population. So only 3% of the population maybe even have a crypto wallet. So there's a lot of room for people to get more familiar with this and start to learn about it. But it's one of those things where they should learn because the knowledge is power in this particular case.
And what is the feedback that you're getting?
I think the feedback, like I said, we just kind of launched beta, a few weeks ago. It's very positive. We have a lot of people that want to use it, and it's kind of more demand than we can handle right now because we are kind of working with these companies on a like POC level. Like we're trying to say, hey, look, don't take our word for it. Let's just show you how efficient and performant our solution is, how easy it is to use, and then also how much money you'll save. And so that's where we're at now. And yeah, I mean, the idea of what we're doing is very strong because we built this from the ground up, targeted at infrastructure for blockchains. Like we don't use Web 2 technologies. We're using a completely from the ground up tech stack that we built ourselves specifically for running blockchain nodes. And because of that, it's very simple to use for anybody, and it has huge cost savings. And you have everything just what you need for running blockchains and not things you need for running websites or other things that are unrelated.
And how you're presenting it to the world?
Through our website, through our social media content, we do demos. People can sign up for the beta and use it. But yeah, basically through our website, people can learn about it. And a lot of talking, just going to conferences, talking to people, talking in sales calls and describing the problems that we had and how we solved them. But yeah, it's a lot of face-to-face right now and social media.
And what challenges you're facing with this?
No challenges now. I think it's just, there's a lot of features we want to build, but having started 5 companies now, the one mistake I think a lot of companies do is they grow their engineering talent too fast. And so what we like to do is we like to use a metric that we call revenue per employee. And so we like to make sure that we're making revenue and that it's kind of has a good ratio with employees because as a team grows, the communication starts to break down and the efficiency breaks down. And like the ideal probably maximum team size is probably 12. And so what we're trying to do is stay as close to that number for our engineering teams as possible so that, we have high efficiency, we can grow and perform relatively early. And so for us, it's just the amount of work and making sure that, we're efficient and moving fast. And we also have a decentralized team. So our team is distributed all over the world. So, time zones, things like that. Like we have an employee in India and, having him travel to go to a company, all hands is tough because, trying to get into Portugal, it's hard. So there's just a lot of issues like that. And how do you pay people in different parts of the world? So those are all things, but, that's one of the benefits of COVID. The outcome is that people learned how to get good at paying remote teams, how to do remote things a lot better. And so that's maybe the only benefit that I could see from the whole COVID situation.
You mentioned 3% of the population are using it. And which countries are more into this?
3% of the population are using crypto roughly. The United States, Europe, Asia. Yeah, I don't know what countries are most, but, in El Salvador, they are using, Bitcoin is legal tender. The government has allowed that. Argentina is having a big collapse of their financial system. And so, a thing like Bitcoin can be very good there. It's becoming very popular because, Bitcoin is not tied to the government's currency. So if the government's currency has massive inflation, then, or deflation, or the value is collapsing, a lot of them are trying to put money into crypto like Bitcoin, because even though Bitcoin is volatile, it's much more stable than their government's currency in its current situation. So, it has a lot of real value and usefulness in, all parts of the world, but I'm not sure who's most likely. But I know a lot of use cases being done in the States and Europe and Asia.
And in simple words, can you explain how your service works to some non-technical people?
Yeah. So if the technical part is if you want to run a blockchain node, but if you want to run a blockchain node, say you have a crypto wallet and you don't want to rely on any other third party to get the balance and make sure the information is correct, you can run your own node. And you can run many nodes if you want. And what you can do is you can come to Blockjoy, you can sign up, you can say, hey, I want to run an Ethereum node, click a button, and it's running. And all the updates are handled for you. You don't have to do anything. And you can just look at the screen and see the graphs that everything is working. And you could point your wallet app to that, and now your wallet is self-contained. Your node is running on the blockchain network. It's getting all the transactions, it's seeing all the data as all those are filling in. And your wallet doesn't rely on any third-party service. It's only relying on yourself.
And how all other jobs of yours are helping you to give the best user experience?
I'm sorry, repeat that?
You are into multiple jobs. You are doing different roles. How other jobs that you are doing are helping you to give them the best user experience for this particular service?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me personally, just having a background in technology and in product. So understand. So as an engineer, like a technical software engineer, I'm solving technical problems that interest me. I'm looking at complex, solutions and performance and things that sometimes a customer maybe doesn't see directly. And because of that, a lot of engineers tend to build solutions for problems that don't exist. They build solutions because they like it. That's something they want to work on, but they don't talk to the customer or the end user. And so they may not understand that the user doesn't need that or doesn't want it in this particular way. But my career has been spent both in product and in engineering. And because of that, I've launched a lot of products. I've been head of product for a lot of things. And because I understand both sides, it really gives me a good view for how to implement something in an efficient manner, and also implement something that users love. And for me, everything starts with the user. And I was really into design thinking, a lot of stuff by IDEO and things like this. And so really coming at a problem with an open space and trying to figure out what the problem is the most important thing before you talk solutions. But engineers, we always are talking solutions. Oh, you got this, you got all this data. Let's use this database and this key value store and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, I want to understand what the root problem is. And the most important thing I learned is what I call, basically popping the why stack. So if somebody tells you, hey, I need a green button, and you ask why, and they say, well, because I could see it better. Why? You ask why like 5 times, and then, oh, it's because, I'm colorblind. Then you finally get to the reason of why they need something. And so it's really important to understand that customers don't always know how to best solve their problems. And customers don't always talk in terms of problems. A lot of times they'll talk in terms of solutions. But what you really want to do is understand the problem so that you can really brainstorm. And the more you can observe the problem in its natural element, even the better. So it's better if like they don't even have to tell you, that you can just see the problem happening and understand it that way.
And your customers are from which industries?
All crypto right now, yeah, but mostly companies have been running blockchain nodes for staking or for for wallet access, RPC nodes, things like that.
So from which countries?
China, we have Singapore, we have the United States, we have Europe, lots in the EU, Indonesia as well. So yeah, we have customers from all over.
So you are into technology from long time. You have understood how things works in the internet, and you know how things are working. So how you are able to use that years of experience in your present service in maintaining and give the best one.
Yeah. So as I mentioned with Blockjoy, it started as an accident, and because me and my co-founder are both experienced engineers, we didn't intend to create a company, but we wanted to run nodes for ourselves. And we just built a solution because it is scratching our own itch. We knew the problem inside out. And so we built something, and we built something from scratch. We were able to do it very fast and very efficient. And because we rethought the problem from scratch, based on our years of experience, what that led us was some kind of technological innovations that basically make this so that we can run nodes at a fraction of the cost. For example, when we started, it cost $200 a month to run an equivalent node on Amazon Web Service, but for our platform, it only cost us $11 a month. So we're able to really, make these dramatic price reductions, and it's because we're technical and because we understood what it takes to run servers. And everybody today, like all developers, just go instantly to the cloud. But when my co-founder and I started 20 plus years ago, we were on the first.com, and there was no cloud. You basically bought servers and you installed servers into data centers. And so we understand bare metal from day one, and then everything evolved to the cloud because at some point the cloud was more cost effective. But today it's not. Like, I'm pretty adamant that the cloud is not where you want to be when you're scaling. I think everything that they do is like per minute pricing for like cell phone plans. It's like, who would pay per minute pricing for a cell phone plan anymore? Nobody. And that's kind of what the cloud has become. And we don't think it's great for blockchains. And so now what we're seeing is a lot of companies, even outside of crypto, migrating their web services and things to bare metal because the cloud's too expensive, and people now have the tools. And it's almost like a lost expertise, how to run a bunch of servers yourself, but anybody can do it.
And what size of business companies with which size will get most benefit from this?
Anybody can get benefit, even individuals, but what I think can focus on is large node operators. So big companies that run a lot of nodes for their business and depend on it, we could save them just a ton of money and a lot of operational overhead. And we give them a lot of tools to automatically update nodes, to onboard brand new chains faster than anybody else. So if, a big company wants to support a new blockchain that just came out, using Blockjoy, they can do it within a day or so. And so, I would say our focus right now is B2B, but certainly anybody could come. It's easy enough that anybody could come and run even a single node if they wanted. But our focus really is on B2B at this point, because we think that these big companies running in the cloud are losing, tens of $millions of a year running big node operations in the cloud.
And what about security and pricing?
Yeah, so security is what I like about our approach is that we run on bare metal, and what we do is we provision the security tools in the customer's data center. And so all their keys and all that are all controlled and owned by them. We never touch them. We never have access to them. And so it's a pretty novel approach, and it makes it pretty easy. We also integrate with third-party key management services, so anything that works off of HashiCorp Vault. we can support. And so again, they don't have to give us any of their keys or their security. They can own it and manage it themselves, and we make it easy for them to do that. Pricing is pretty flexible. So for anybody running in their own bare metal, we charge a small monthly fee per CPU core. Anybody that wants us to run the nodes for them, it just depends on the type of blockchain that they want to run. But we encourage customers to run their own nodes on their own infrastructure. It'll save them a lot of money and also makes the network more, diverse and decentralized.
And how much time it takes for you to reach everywhere?
I guess it depends on what you mean. In terms of marketing, it's going to take us forever. In terms of, running servers all over the world, we could pretty much do it now. We could pretty much run anywhere in the world that you want, any major data center around the world.
So do you have customers from India?
Let's see. We have one. Yeah, we have a couple customers from India. Yes. We do. And we have an employee in India. Yeah.
And from Asia continent?
Yeah, from Singapore, Indonesia, and China, we have customers. Hong Kong. Yes. And hopefully South Korea soon.
And how effective you are in making this happen?
We're new, right? We just launched our beta, so it's too early to tell. But based on what we build and what the people that we talk to have seen, they're very excited. So I feel like our last 2 years we've been working on this is starting to pay off, and we're excited for what it's going to look like 5 years from now.
And what do you say to the developers?
With our team or anybody that wants to use this?
Anybody who wants to use this.
Yeah, I think it gives them an easy way to run their own nodes. They do not have to rely on third-party RPC or API servers. They can run their own node. They can have fast access to data. They don't have to pay anything extra for it. I think it's a benefit. And the apps that they build, they really should be encouraging individuals to run nodes because, again, decentralized is the nature of the game. The more decentralized it is, the more safe it is from tamper resistant, the more safe it is from censorship. And basically it needs to be diverse, and putting everything in the cloud under, Amazon is not the ideal way. So I would say that, Blockjoy makes it super easy for you to build your apps and for your customers to deploy apps and for anybody in the community of the protocol that you support to run nodes.
And how do you explain the difference between centralized and decentralized thing?
Yeah, so centralized is when there's an intermediary, when there is a company that basically is in control over the majority of something. So in the case of Facebook, it's very clear. Meta is in control of Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, and they dictate the policy and the rules. They have been, fined and punished for misusing customers' data. They've been very aggressive in anti-competitive, tendencies. Like, my understanding is that they lobbied very hard against TikTok because TikTok is a huge competitor. So these big companies that are profiting off of your information, they're all making record profits. They've all been manipulating data to some degree in their benefit. And that just needs to go away. I don't think that the core services that you depend on, like your email, you probably use Gmail. Everybody uses Gmail. Again, that's all centralized. It's one company that can read all your email and could service up ads. That's not great. When we talk about Messenger or, your social media platform, like Google owns, they own YouTube, right? They own your Gmail account. They own so many things. And it's just not right because they're capitalizing off of your data. And, you're getting some services for free, but a lot of people don't realize what it's really costing them. Or your YouTube channel, like you're being, if you're getting monetized, Google's making a big cut of that. You're doing all the work. You're publishing all this content. People are loving it. People are watching it. And then they're getting paid for advertising. In fact, the first 4,000 hours of watch time, they get all the revenue from it. You don't get a dime. So, it's just not fair. Why, like, if there's a way for you to publish your content and be in complete control and get every penny for whoever views it, that's a better approach than, having to rely on a third party company to take a big chunk of your money and you're doing all the work of, producing the content.
Do you have a easy example to finish off this?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's I think it's like a lemonade stand, right? So, in a centralized world, there's a company that owns your lemonade stand, and you want to sell lemonade, you sell lemonade. They can tell you which flavors you can sell. They can kick you out if you sell a flavor they don't like, and then they take a cut of the profit. So all the money goes to them, and then they give you a little bit of money afterwards. Or in a decentralized mechanism, you build your own stand, you own your own stand, and people pay you directly, and you get to keep all the money because you've done all the work. And so that's a real difference. Like, do you want somebody else to own your lemonade stand and take 80% of all the money that you get for selling, or do you want to own your own lemonade stand and take 100% of the money for selling? And that's the big difference between centralized and decentralized. And this is why I think Web3 is so important. We rely on these services. Like, all of our information is coming from social media. We're dependent on these, social media applications. We're depending on instant messaging applications. And I don't want people reading my private mail. I don't want people reading my private messages. I don't want people, telling me what I can and can't post. And so this is why it's important to get rid of the intermediaries. It's important to migrate from Web 2 to Web 3, where anybody can consume and anybody can, basically produce. And there's no intermediary.
Can you spell your website to my podcast listeners?
Sure. It's blockjoy.com, BLOCKJOY.com.
And what about support? If they want information, if they want to know more?
Just go to the website. There is a form where you can fill out, and it'll hit us and we can respond back to you. So it's pretty easy.
And as a person who is into technology, who has a great understanding about internet and communication system and how things work in the internet, what is your observation about my work?
Oh, I think it's great what you're doing so far. It's fantastic. I think you've had some really great guests. And look, I like that you are trying to you're building your own media empire. You know what I mean? Like, you're working hard, you're reaching out, you're, being consistent in publishing content, you're being tenacious and getting guests. I think it's great. I think you're going to be hugely successful if you just keep up the work that you're doing. It's fantastic.
And one observation that I want yours, which means a lot to me because you're great in technology. What do you think that is working for me in order to talk with more than 100 country plus people? What that qualities are working for me?
I think it's just your tenacity. I think pinging somebody, following up. I also think it's your approach, because what I like is that your angle or your niche, if you will, to your podcast is really about interviewing people from all over the world and how, where they are in the world impacts the work that they're doing. And so I think that's super exciting because, oftentimes nobody's really covering that. Nobody's talking about what it's like to, work and live in one country and that not being your home country, so it's very exciting. And it's very interesting that you're looking at what the global impact is, like how this company is having its impact on the world and where in the world it's having an impact. So that's all fantastic stuff. It's content that you can't really find anywhere. So it's great.
I'll put your work in my website as well, with your web links and the service in detail that you're providing, so that people who comes to my website also can see in detail and can understand what you're saying.
Perfect. That'd be great. And if you can put also like our podcast, WTF Web3, that'd be great too. It's just anchor.fm/WTF Web3. But yeah, perfect. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I'll put all your links in the website. They can find it. Can I put this video on my YouTube channel with your permission?
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
And also, can I put this audio and video clip on my podcast, website, internet, social media, everywhere with your permission?
Yes, absolutely.
Thanks, Chris, for your valuable time and telling about your work and telling about the service that you're providing and how you started this and what is your intention and what is your objective to do this.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me on and taking the time to ask me all these questions and let me talk about myself. So appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Keep going, doing the great work, and I hope you'll reach everywhere on the planet.
Yeah, same for you. I mean, I hope your podcast continues to be successful and continues to grow, which I'm absolutely sure it will. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, again.
Okay, bye.
Bye.